guys, David Clayton here with GuitarBreakdown.com, and today we're going to do something I'm really excited about. We're going to start a series of lessons that I've been wanting to start for a while now. They're going to be these quick rhythm licks. We started a series a while ago, quick licks, that we're doing a lot of jazz licks, like 1 or 2 bar, 2 measure licks. It's really great that we go into these long solos and these long concepts and ideas and stuff, and people really seem to like that. But some people also say, man, I just want to learn something real fast, I want to come in and out. And that's another way of learning that I do all the time too. So I'll learn all these crazy solos and stuff, but at least once or twice a week I'm learning just a little rhythm part to something, or a melody to something. So for me, a lot of it goes back to like the 80s. I'll learn, you know, old Whitesnake, Van Halen, Skid Row, Racer X, or even in the jazz like George Benson stuff, or like a standard from the real book. I'll just learn the chords and the head, and it's usually pretty straightforward, but it's stuff that maybe I brushed over and I never learned. And it just keeps the fun in the music, because these long concepts and ideas are kind of draining a little bit, and you get lost in the technical, theoretical aspect of guitar. And I mean, I think we all started guitar, you know, to get chicks. That didn't work out for some of us, but but we also, you know, got into it just for the fun, to play cool tunes and have some real good grooves going on, and play with band members and stuff. So anyway, a lot of talk. This is also to cut down on the talking. That's why I want to do these lessons. These lessons take a lot of time and a lot of effort to edit and all this stuff, and I get sick of hearing my own voice. So some of you, I'm right there with you. So the idea of this is I'm just going to show you a simple chord progression, maybe a simple melody to a tune in these kind of lessons, and I'm not going to go note for note. I'll kind of walk through it, but then I'll also offer the tab. So if you guys want that, click in the description below and we'll give you the tab for that. And so that'll make the lessons go a little quicker. And again, the idea here is just to learn a cool thing, even if you're not into Ozzy or anything. If it's a cool riff, learn it, and it's a new little thing that you can play with a band if you ever jump in a rock band or something. Or same thing with the jazz. If you're not into jazz, but there's a melody to a standard, you know, learn it. It's pretty quick and simple. And then if you ever get in the environment where you're playing with somebody and they want to play a jazz standard, you're like, oh yeah, I know that one. So that's the concept and idea here. The first one we're going to do here is Van Halen's Somebody Get Me a Doctor. I always wanted to learn this riff. I don't know why this was one of the songs I never learned. It is pretty easy and straightforward. It's not easy, but it's pretty straightforward the way it is played, and it has such a cool groove to it. So that's going to be the first one we're going to go over. If you guys really like this, please do share, like, and subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments that you guys want to see more of these type of videos, and I will keep the talking to the minimum after this. I just wanted to introduce what we're doing. But this lesson starts out with just a G chord to a C9 chord to a D chord, then it repeats that, and then it plays an E chord, and it just kind of sits on that. That whole thing is. And then the rhythm comes in, right? And then it goes into this really cool riff. And again, I'm not going to go over all the notes in like the C9 chord and that. Just if you want the transcription, it's there for you. The next riff, which is the real cool thing, is and what that's doing is just playing on the C note of the A string. Now, sometimes I play it C open to A, C, C, A, or sometimes I just play C, A, and then I just drone on the A. So sometimes you could just do that open. That sounds fine too. But I think it goes C, A, C, C, A. Then it just does an open G and B string, or I'm sorry, D and G string. And then it plays the bar A chord. Then it slides up to the seventh fret of the A string. Then and it bars what could look like an A minor 7 chord. So it's all the 5th fret. Then it goes to barring all the 7th fret on the D, G, and B string, but your pinky does that sus thing on the 8th fret. Pretty much standard Van Halen. You know, that little sus thing. So you have, and it goes to that bar, and it does that again. It does it a couple times, and it keeps repeating that and coming back. That's the main rhythm riff. And then it goes to this. And that's just going from this E chord, bar chord, to an F bar chord, back to an E, back to an F. And then one time it actually goes to just goes up chromatically from E to F sharp to G. And it's always pounding on like this open E string, but it's getting some harmonics in there. Right? It's pretty cool stuff. Now, the coolest part of this, and then it goes and it repeats and it does all this, but the coolest thing to me was always this riff. I always loved. And that little volume swell, it's just so cool and so much fun to play. It's kind of hard because it's pretty quick. You got to really get that volume turned off. But it's basically 2 open A strings. Then it goes, and those are like 8th notes. Don, don, 1 and 1 E and 1 E and 2 E. So it's 1 and, but I'm counting the 16th notes because the next riff is a 16th note riff. It's so now I do it where I bar the 5th fret of the G and B string, and then what I think he's doing is he's just doing that kind of thing. So it's just a bunch of scratches, but I like doing this 7-5-7 riff, but I kind of mute it and I kind of don't hit all the notes, so you still get a little bit of those little scratchies, but I also, the feeling of my fingers, I like the way it feels. So it's, then it just goes 7 bar on the G and B string, 5 bar, and then the 7th fret on the D string. So 2 more A notes, and it goes. And that's right after you hit those 2 A notes, you turn off the volume. And then you hit the 5th fret barring the D, G, and B string, and you pull that on. And I like bending it up just a 1/4 step. And it's just such a cool riff. And don't worry about messing this up. Like even the very beginning of the intro performance that I did, it wasn't perfect. And that's the whole point of this. It's like when we get involved in all these concepts and learning these ideas, a lot of times we get bogged down with, oh, that's not perfect. Oh, I want to get, or the picking technique. And again, it's supposed to be fun. And it's funny because every time I do that riff, I don't know why I cringe up when it does that part where you turn on the volume. I don't know why. It's so weird. But anyway, you know, just have fun with it. That's the whole thing. It's just a cool, simple riff. You don't have to get, you know, too heady with any of the theory or what's going on. Most of it's just, you know, basic chords, but it's got such an amazing groove. Now, again, this is Van Halen, like always, tunes things down a 1/2 step. Not always, but for the most part, especially with the David Lee Roth years. But I just play this standard tuning. I don't like tuning down, even though it sounds really cool tuned down. So hope you guys enjoyed that. It's a fun riff, and we're going to do a ton more. There's a ton more Van Halen stuff that, again, are pretty simple. You know, you think Van Halen, a lot of people think, you know, oh my God, Van Halen, I can't play like that. Well, first of all, the objective for me is not to play exactly like somebody, but a rhythm riff like this. I mean, it's just so fun to play. So we'll bring a lot more Van Halen stuff. If you guys have any requests, put them down in the comments or shoot them to us in an email. And yeah, again, just going to try and make these quick, simple things that, you know, you learn them in 5 or 10 minutes and you have a new trick in your bag of tricks. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Stick around for the upcoming lessons. We got a ton of stuff. Check out the website, guitarbreakdown.com. And we got a ton of new lesson packages coming up. And I hope you guys enjoy what we're doing. Let us know. I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.